Hello again. Today, I am going to help you learn how to identify transitive and intransitive verbs. At least I hope so. And that's kind of the plan. As you should recall, transitive and intransitive verbs are one of those ways we can take the category of verbs and separate them into two groups. Unfortunately, these two groups have a lot of crossover, which is something we're going to be demonstrating today. So how do you tell the difference between transitive and intransitive verbs? Well, transitive verbs always break through the verb wall. They break through that verb barrier, and on the other side has to be a direct object. Okay? So transitive verbs always take a direct object. Intransitive verbs never take a direct object. Transitive verbs can be action verbs, they can be being type verbs, but you can always ask the question who or what in order to identify the direct object in a sentence with a transitive verb. However, you will never be able to answer who or what in terms of the subject-verb partnership for intransitive verbs because you wouldn't have the direct object. And remember that intransitive verbs have to be action verbs, but they stop at a brick wall. The idea of the subject-verb has a brick wall off to the verb. That doesn't mean that you can't have more information on the other side of the wall. Remember that with intransitive verbs, you can still have prepositional phrases, you can still have more information, you just can't have direct objects. So, with that said, let's look at some sentences and get some practice. I'm just going to be talking through these as we go, so try and keep up. Question number one, or sentence number one, Billy tries hard in class. So, easily you can identify the verb here as being try. Obviously the subject is Billy, and we have Billy tries hard in class. Now, what kind of word is hard in this sentence? Well, it's describing Billy's trying. It's describing his effort. And we can say Billy tries hard is an adverb describing try, and in class is a prepositional phrase. So it's true, there is a noun after the verb here, class, but it's the object of this preposition, in. So the object of the prepositional phrase is not going to be the direct object of what does Billy try. So here, we could just say Billy tries. And remember, if you can have those two words as a sentence, generally the verb can be intransitive, and in this case, you would be right. Billy tries hard in class is this word being used as an intransitive verb. Let's look at sentence number two. Billy tried fishing today. Well, here we have the same thing. We can take away these words and say Billy tried, and that makes sense. That's a complete thought. That's an idea. But can I ask this question? What did Billy try? Does this sentence have an answer? Yes, it does. Billy tried fishing. So here, tried is not intransitive. I can't ask that sentence, I can't ask that question of sentence number one. I can't say, what does Billy try in this sentence? You could say, he tries hard. But that's not what he's trying, that's how he's trying. Remember, this is an adverb, not a noun. And the answer to what would have to be a noun in this sentence. And it is here. We have the gerund fishing. So Billy tried fishing today. Sentence number three. Sam smells breakfast. Now, can we take away the information after the verb? Sam smells. Ooh. We can, but is that what this sentence is doing? Is that what it means? Let's try the other way. Let's look at the transitive rule. Who does no, he's not smelling a person. This isn't a person's name, but we can ask what does Sam smell? Well, Sam smells breakfast. This noun here, that is the direct object of what Sam and smell are referring to. Sam smells this breakfast, which makes Sam smells transitive. Now, how about number four? Sam smells bad before bathing. So again, here we can have Sam smells. And it actually kind of means the same thing. If this is the action verb, Sam smells. Unfortunately, this is not the action verb in this sentence. Sam smells bad. Bad is the adjective describing Sam, which means that this must be the linking or the being type version of this noun to smell. Sam smells bad. And if it's not acting as an action verb, well, it must be transitive. Remember, only action verbs can be intransitive. So if this was the action of Sam just smelling, like there's, the flies and like all of the things you would see in the cartoon and the cloud and the grossness and all that, if that was just the idea Sam smells, that would be an action emanating out of Sam, but that's not what's happening here. We have the adjective describing Sam, which makes this transitive. Let's look at our last example, number 5. Mary laughs and sings BTS songs during break. Mary! Oh, I've had it up to here with BTS. Oh my goodness, I just lost all my fans. I didn't mean that. Okay. Let's look at the sentence. Mary laughs and sings BTS songs during break. Yay, Mary! What is the verb? If you've been paying attention, you would see that there's 2 verbs. There's laughs and sings. Now, can I say Mary laughs what? No! I can't say what does Mary laugh. Mary can only laugh at something. Mary laughs. Laugh is always intransitive. This has no other option. I can't say Mary laughs movie. That doesn't make sense. I can have a prepositional phrase and say Mary laughs at the movie or at foster teacher, which is probably true, but what about the second verb? Mary laughs and sings. What does Mary sing? Mary sings BTS songs. Of course she does. So, if we have an answer to what does Mary sing, then sing must be transitive. So you see here that we can even couple intransitive and transitive verbs together in one sentence. So, how do you figure it out? Well, one is to take away everything on the other side of the verb wall and see if it makes sense. Even if that does work, you still have to ask the question, who or what, to see if it ever makes sense. Because, well, it's not as easy as I make it out to be. But don't worry, because you're going to get some practice. Let's review.
Identifying transitive and intransitive verbs. What are transitive verbs? Transitive verbs are verbs that need to have a direct object to complete the sentence. What are intransitive verbs? Intransitive verbs are verbs that do not take or need a direct object after it in a sentence. What could intransitive verbs have after the verb? Intransitive verbs could be followed by an object of preposition, but never a direct object. Are all action verbs always intransitive? No. Some action verbs can be both transitive or intransitive, but all intransitive verbs are action verbs and never being verbs. How can we tell if a verb is intransitive? Take away everything after the verb and see if it still makes sense. How can we tell if a verb is transitive? Even after taking away everything after the verb, ask if there is a who or what receiving the action of the verb.